Hey everybody, and welcome to Andrew Discusses, where today we're going to be talking about a wonderful little thing that's happening here on YouTube. So, for those of you out there looking forward to this, stick around, because we're going to have a lot of fun today on Andrew Discusses. Okay, so for those of you that haven't been following or keeping up with a lot of the talk on Twitter, on the news and stuff like that, YouTube apparently got in trouble, which apparently they didn't actually get in trouble, but it depends on who you listen to, believe, and whatnot. And deals with the whole COPPA thing, which is the Children Online Privacy Protection Act. Now, I've ranted about this a little bit in my own unique way, and I've talked about this at length and everything else, and I'm not the only one, multiple people have. Basically, it was that all channels had to abide by whether or not their content was designed for kids, not designed for kids, or what have you. And I'm going to safely say this, but it's now in full effect. COPPA has taken over YouTube, and sadly, I actually think this is going to be much worse than any of us could have ever predicted. So, basically, I was made aware that this was now in full swing and the full ramifications of this, courtesy of Bolt Matrix. And really, I want to just give Bolt a shout out here, because I feel sorry for you. I honestly do. You are the one that I feel the most sorry for, because I really enjoyed your channel. But basically, because he reviews a lot of toys like Transformers, Power Rangers, and stuff like that, his channel has been designated as made for kids. Because of this, comments are disabled. Cannot be saved in a playlist. Apparently, I'm not getting any notifications anymore either, and any of the notifications that I had for his channel have been removed from my notification bar. I've noticed that today, actually, because I was going back in to check something, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, the notification I had for Bolt Matrix's thing is no longer up, because apparently that's now qualified because his is now a kid's channel. And this is just, for the casual viewer and subscriber, this is what's going to happen to them. But for poor Bolt himself, this means that revenue stream is cut dramatically, a 60 to 90% revenue drop. And in all honesty, this is just horrible for him in general, but not only him, but other YouTubers that are going to suffer a similar fate to this. And if you're hearing noise in the background, there's a nice little snowstorm going through right now, and that's the sound of municipality vehicles trying to plow a lot. So that's always fun. But anyway, so poor Bolt is going to get screwed. He did put a thing up. He did start up a Patreon, and he's hoping to get some Patreon supporters to really help with this, because that's the only way he's going to keep it going. But here's the problem, and this is a problem that will affect a lot of people. You can't ask for money without giving something in return. And in this case, he's giving away figures like Transformers and stuff like that. And basically, if you sit down and think about it, he's literally giving away his collection to keep himself afloat. And I have been here. This isn't a proud moment for anyone when you have to sell off stuff that you care for, stuff that you admire, stuff that you really put some thought and effort into getting, and you have to sell it off to help pay bills. It sucks. I've done it. I sold my GameCube to get money to pay car insurance. I had an Optimus Prime from Transformers Cybertron. I had to sell that to get money to pay car insurance. I've sold a lot of my stuff to help pay bills when money was extremely tight. And that's a problem, because this is stuff that, you really took the time and effort that you were excited to get, and now you have to sell it because you need money to survive. And in his case, it's not like he can't put videos up anymore. He can, but the problem is that it's affecting a lot more than just, oh, look, here's the video. This is the video, and that's it. No, it's the whole back end of this, too, because it's less money, less viewers. There's an issue here that's underlined that YouTube doesn't see. And I am going to, I'm really sorry to say it this way, and I know it's probably going to get my channel deleted or possibly thrown into the crosshairs, but YouTube fucked every single creator as well. Now, I can't blame them for creating COPPA. COPPA existed because of the internet. And in all honesty, I will agree that COPPA is a necessary evil. It's just the wording in COPPA that is wrong. Because they have deemed that any creator on YouTube, anyone that puts up a video on YouTube, must abide by this. And what annoys me about this is you need to be 13 to have a YouTube account. YouTube could have easily prevented 90% of this from happening. Easily. By implementing an age restriction gate, which they have. It's been proven. They could have easily done this by instigating you can't upload clips from what we've deemed to be children's programming, like Sesame Street, Baby Sharks, Ryan's World, shit like that, that is geared towards kids. You can't put that up on our site. That has to go over here on YouTube Kids. They could have easily done that, gotten to the point where, look, now we're sustainable, and still went for option 3. Is with YouTube's thing, there's 2 options. Option A is you basically have to have your videos listed either for kids, which limits a lot of the stuff you can do. No comments, no playlists, apparently no notifications either anymore. If you are watching it on the YouTube app, you can't minimize it and search for something. It'll automatically pause it. I found that out today while digging through to see what all has been clarified, which I'm not going to lie, the list is really annoying to me. Besides toy reviewers, there's also some anime stuff which has been deemed for kids. Pokemon, some comic book reviews that were deemed for kids, which really pisses me off. There's also some video gaming channels that I adore, that I really liked watching, that have been deemed for kids. And I have to unsubscribe from a good chunk of those. And that's what I was doing. And I don't want to do that. But I have no choice. And I'm going to explain why in a little bit. But basically, you have 2 choices with your videos. It's either label them for kids, limiting what you can do, limiting how your fans can interact with you, limiting all of the stuff that made YouTube what it was, and how, you could be seen on there and recognized, or mark it not for kids and run the risk of being fined. Now, as for the middle ground, the third option, there is a third option, the general audience exception. And this was something that was in the books, it is in the books, and it is in the wording of COPPA that there is a middle ground. But YouTube didn't want to abide by it. They didn't want to even give that as an option. Now, apparently it is per video, which doesn't help when you have to do your entire channel and decide, is it for kids or is it not for kids? But the fact that you have to do that one per video just proves, again, YouTube could care less about the creators anymore. And YouTube is going to become a barren wasteland at this point. There will be nothing left. YouTube is a boring place right now. I've actually, as I was saying, I was digging through just my subscriptions alone, what I subscribe to, and there's comic review channels that have been marked for kids. Pokemon. There was an official Pokemon channel that I had, subscribed to so I could catch some clips and some episodes of Pokemon that has been deemed for kids now. Cartoon Network stuff, old cartoons from like the 90s and that have been marked for kids. I can't pull up any clips of anything. Like, I'm thinking of a cartoon, hey, I want to check to see if this clip's out there. I can't pull it up. I mean, I can, but then there also runs the other ramification. Now, there's rumor going around, and this was going around last year already, that if you view these channels and if you view this content, that YouTube will consider your channel a channel of a child, and thus will limit what you can do. So, in other words, this is a double-edged sword for this, and I want to explain why, if I may, because what YouTube's doing here is basically blocking out everybody from everything. What they deem, according to the COPPA law, as for kids is basically anything that, animators could be looking to this for inspiration, like, let me pull up some old Ed, Edd n Eddy clips. Can't pull them up anymore because they're down for kids. If I do this, I'll be considered a child account. And child accounts have limitations placed on them, which, first off, bothers me again because YouTube has an age set minimum, 13 years old. That's how old you have to be to sign up for a YouTube account. It is not our fault, us the creators, that parents put on something for kids and let their kids watch it. Go after the channels that put that up. Don't punish every single creator for the actions of, like, let's say 100. Don't punish millions of them because 100 wanted to act stupid. Basically, YouTube doesn't care about us anymore, and it's true. I Have Soul, I found out recently, put up a video months ago where she had a mental breakdown, basically, in her video, and told YouTube they win, and she's given up. I guess after this, she's not doing any more of her I Have Soul reviews. She's not doing any more of her review reviews. She's just doing other certain simple things. And that really sucks because I liked her reviews that she did for some of the stuff that, she reviewed. I liked them. They were pretty cool. She put time and effort into that, and it showed. It was a very unique prospect of what she could do. She showed off what she could bring to the table, and people just didn't like it. Well, you can't please everybody, but you still do it because it's fun. But at this point, YouTube's sucking the fun out of being on YouTube. I mean, it's a ghost town at this point. It's a barren, empty wasteland, and that's what sucks. I traversed most of my subscriptions. I had to unsubscribe from some of them because I'm really terrified if I watch too many of those or too much of it comes up on my recommendation thing that YouTube's going to think that my account's that of a child. And it's not. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm not a goddamn child. I'm a 30-year-old man. I'm pretty sure I'm not a child anymore. I haven't been a child for a good, a good 17 years. I haven't been a child for a good 17 years. So, I don't know, 17, 18, 18 actually, because fair, I would have 12, I still would have been a child. So yeah. But either way, there's not going to be much left of YouTube. And they could have easily sat down, talked with the creators, put out like a survey. What do you want us? Give us your thoughts and opinions. I have answered at least 8 to 12 surveys that YouTube has put just for creators when you go onto the YouTube studio. Oh, how do you like this? Would you recommend YouTube? Would you do? At this point, if I would see one of those pop up, would you recommend YouTube to a friend or colleague? No. I can safely say that, no. But there's no other alternative. Every single website has to abide by the COPPA law. The problem is other sites would probably be more willing to work with creators than YouTube is. Set up an age gate, you have that. You have that. Put on a line of code that says, oh, we've noticed that you're watching a lot of children's programming right now. We're going to put you into child mode. What child mode would do, if they would actually have thought about this, they could have initiated a child mode. What child mode would have done would have just simply blocked, taken all the stuff, that they're doing to the YouTube accounts that they have deemed to be for children. Okay? And just reversed it. Instead of it affecting the channels, it's affecting the person watching, the account watching the content. They can't leave comments, but everybody else can. They can't save it to playlist, but all the other ones can. And the part that I like is there's a picture. If you actually, go onto one of those channels that has been deemed for kids, they're trying to push you onto the YouTube Kids app. People know it exists, and they didn't want to go to it because you put nothing on there to get their attention. They could just go to YouTube instead. If YouTube honestly would have just looked at this and said, okay, collector stuff can be deemed for both audiences. It's geared towards both collectors, but this could be a warning to parents. Don't let your kids spend the money on this. This could happen. Because I don't see a 5-year-old dropping $100 for a crap ton of Transformers. I don't see children spending shit tons of money on the stuff that they're pushing. And the COPPA law is designed to protect children online. I get that. And like I said, I have no issue with that. I understand why it exists. It's a necessary evil. The problem is the wording is what we, the creators, are complaining about. And from what I've gathered with the whole COPPA thing was that this was something that was in the books for years, and it just took this long for them to enact this part of it. But what bothers me is instead of defending the creators, instead of looking at the creators as this is our means to keep us afloat, they threw all of us under the bus. Okay? Every single one of us is chucked under the bus because of this. They could have easily figured out a different way to circumvent this issue. And you could say that any idiot can solve a problem with money. It takes a genius to solve something without it. Well, here's the thing. They could have easily solved this. It wouldn't have cost them much of anything other than time. And you're owned by Google. I'm pretty sure you could have some interns do this, and it really wouldn't cost you anything. Because they could be gaining some experience on how to do this. Set up the age gate, which you have. You've always had. You just didn't enforce it enough. Create a kids-only mode that affects viewers watching what you have deemed to be kids' content. This does not then punish the channels that are considered kid content. Because any account that is not considered kid, in child mode is therefore allowed to comment, save to playlists, and all the other stuff that you have taken away. It's not fair to them, and at this point, there are a lot of YouTubers that are losing hope that YouTube will be here in say, a year. At this point, I can honestly just give YouTube, and I'm going to be generous with this. I'm being very generous with this. I give YouTube 5 years. At the rate it's going, the current rate by which everything seems to be falling apart with them, I give it 5 years. 5 years, and then YouTube's just finished. 5 years and it's over. I'm being generous with this. I'm not lying either. I'm being very generous with this. I'd give it 5 years at this rate. This is basically, YouTube's been on life support for, I want to say, a good few years at this point. It's sort of been on life support with the whole copyright claim issues that have been going on. YouTubers doing stupid shit. Yes, you know which ones I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention their names. You all know them. To all the other stuff that has been going on. Bad mouths going on. Bad mouthing of stuff. A whole bunch of issues. All of that. You had all of that going on. That has basically been slowly killing YouTube. And it's been on life support to keep itself afloat. This is the life support failing. It's not going to survive much longer. This is basically cancer for YouTube, and nobody's realized it yet. And this is, the way this is now, this is terminal cancer for YouTube. I really hate to have that be the analogy for this, but it's true. This is terminal cancer for YouTube. This is YouTube looking at this and going, well, we haven't got a chance now anymore. You're going to lose creators because they're just either going to give up and say, well, this was fun, forget this now, I'll go do something else. The ones that are going to stick around because, like myself, they do it for fun, run the risk, like I am right now, of if we, speak out against the almighty YouTube, we run the risk of our accounts being deleted because we're no longer commercially viable to you, which, again, would also affect those channels that you have deemed for kids because they won't be bringing in the money anymore. They won't be bringing in the ad revenue, so you're going to look at them and go, well, they're not commercially viable, and that's going to kill off a huge chunk of YouTube. But instead of, working with the creators, asking us what our thoughts are, asking us for our thoughts and opinions, and working together with us on a plan. You say you always do that. And by the way, if anybody out there knows that YouTube has actually been communicating with, and I don't mean like their high tier ones, like Markiplier or the freaking PewDiePie or any of them. I mean, we're talking top tier. We're talking about like middle to low tier creators too. If you know if they've been talking to any of them in regards to this, please let me know. Because as far as I know, they haven't. It's basically they only care about the upper tier and not about anybody else. But what's happening now at YouTube and what's going to be happening, this is terminal cancer, and I'm giving YouTube about a good 5 years at this rate. And that's being generous. It may even be less than that. If content creators leave YouTube because they can't do their videos anymore, they can't enjoy the same feeling that they had when they did their videos because now they can't get feedback on it from their viewers, basically it's, why bother? They'll leave. The less creators you have pushing out content, the less ad revenue you're going to get to keep your lights on. And eventually that number is going to hit 0. And you're going to flatline. And there's no resuscitating. There's no bringing you back. In fact, if somebody were to create another type of YouTube site and go on there and actually fight for the creators on that and say, nope, this qualifies as general audience, and they come up with all the stuff that I've talked about that YouTube didn't want to do. They put up the solid age gate and enforce the age gate. Or they come up with a kid mode. That if you watch too many children-related programming, it automatically kicks you in that. And you have to you have to get texted a password or something to get you out of it. You can't just log yourself out of it. You have to be texted a password, a generic password, to come out of it. And they do all the stuff that I talked about that YouTube could have done but didn't, that'll be the final nail in YouTube's coffin, and they'll be done because everyone will migrate over to that site. And that'll be the end of it. YouTube will be history. And that's sadly if that happens, that's it. That'll basically be yanking the plug from YouTube and yanking the plug and just ending it. At this rate, YouTube does not have much of a chance left. Like I said, I'm being generous with it, but I'm giving it 5 years. Because there's nothing left. As I said, it's mostly almost all the toy reviewers. There were a couple that I did see that weren't, but I think their channels are going. I think they're just going to be deleting their channels regardless, so that sucks. And anybody that might have just reviewed, hey, I bought this really cool action figure, but it broke, so don't buy the damn thing, being like a consumer warning type of deal, I think they're fine, but that's like maybe a 5 or 10%. But you figure it's toy reviewers, comic book reviewers, and some anime has been deemed for kids, which really annoys me because I watch a lot of anime clips on YouTube. So now I have to go through and figure out which ones are being considered, which ones are kids, not for kids. Because that makes a difference to what I can watch now. So you have that. There's a few video gamers that I watched had their stuff marked down as for kids because it's video game related or something like that. It sucks. It really does. Cartoons, like you can't pull up any clips from the Transformers. They're all deemed for kids. Anything from Cartoon Network, Ed, Edd n Eddy, any Nickelodeon, any Disney shows, they're all deemed for kids. And it sucks because of it. It's just this massive decline, and YouTube could have fought to prevent all of this from happening. They could have, when this was put on to be changed into the law, YouTube could have said, wait a minute, our content creators on there, we have an age gate. We have a minimum set age. We can implement a mode that will automatically push them into a kid mode if they watch anything that's deemed for a child. And then they have to text us, and we have to text them a password to unlock it and get themselves out of it. They can't just log out and log back in. It'll still keep them logged into that. If they would have fought for us, we wouldn't be as upset as we are now. But at this rate, when the big fish are gone because they've either died off because YouTube's taken everything from them and they don't want to be here anymore, or they have nothing left because there is nothing left here, they're going to come after the small guppies like us, like me and everybody else. I want to hold out hope that we still have a chance. We need a light in the darkness. We need something or someone to stand up for us. I'm willing to like the channels that are suffering from this. And I do. Most of them are stuff that I enjoy. I'm 30 years old. I'm allowed to enjoy watching cartoons. I'm allowed to enjoy stuff. There's no law that says the minute I turned 18, I could no longer enjoy cartoons. I could no longer enjoy toys. It did not say that I had to give all that up the minute I turned 18. Nowhere did I ever read that. But we, the creators on YouTube, we need something or someone to stand up and fight for us. YouTube sure as hell isn't going to do it. They could care less about us. They threw us under the bus one too many times as far as I'm concerned. They've already got channels like Eye of Soul that don't even want to do she doesn't want to do her stuff anymore and is only going to do other things that she was doing. She's not going to do her reviews anymore. You have Bolt Matrix, who's screwed over And he's feeling it. Now he's got to get rid of most of his collection. I saw the video where he said he's going to do Patreon, and he's giving away figures. Because you can't ask for money without giving something in return. And then you have the creators like me who fall under a mixed category of, look, I complain about cartoons. I watch anime and talk about it. I have a podcast. I do all this stuff. Do I qualify as a kid? No, I'm a kid at heart. I like this stuff. I have some knowledge of this stuff. I want to explain what I like about this, what I thought was good, bad, and ugly about an anime series, what I liked about a movie that, is for like teenagers and up. My stuff is geared towards 13-year-olds at the lowest level. And I'm not the only one. If somebody, most of the stuff on here, we the creators assumed 13-year-olds would watch, at minimum. Not 12-year-olds, not 10-year-olds, not 5-year-olds, 13. And if maybe a 5-year-old watched it because, hey, older siblings watching it. Hey, that looks really cool. What is that? And then they want to watch it, and then they want to show their parents or their guardians or their aunts or uncles or something, hey, this is a really cool, toy. Can I have this for my birthday or something? That's not the creator's fault. That's because the kids saw it. But they saw it because the older sibling who had to have an account, so they had to be 13, watched it. You can watch this stuff without having an account. That's the problem. If you want to pull up something that YouTube is deemed mature or is labeled mature via the age restriction, you have to sign in to prove how old you are. Why couldn't they do that for what they deem kids related and not torture and punish the creators like they're doing? Because they don't care about us anymore. All YouTube cares about is how much money they can get out of people and how much ad revenue they can get. And at this rate, they're not going to have any left. The creators are going to jump ship, the ads are going to jump ship, and YouTube's going to be a barren wasteland. And it's already starting to be shown. When I can't find much of anything to watch on my own account, out of the stuff that I'm subscribed to, because the people that I'm subscribed to are terrified to put up anything. They're afraid that if they screw up, it's over. And YouTube doesn't want to help. Their version of helping is you're on your own. Why? You're the medium for which we throw our stuff out to the world. Why can't you help us? Without us, you would not exist anymore. And you can't tell us that that's not true. Without creators, there would be no YouTube because there would be no ads coming in to help keep your lights on. It's just, at the rate YouTube's going, there won't be anything left. And we, the creators, are the ones that are suffering the most, aside from the audience who doesn't really know much of what we're going through, other than the ones who watch our videos, like this one. They don't know what we're going to go through. YouTube's not going to survive at this rate. It's going to die off. And there will be nothing left. And this is a site that has it in itself to survive. It's built upon a presence that constantly can evolve to the changing times. But instead of actually doing that, they decided to just throw their hands in the air and say, to hell with it. And that doesn't work. I know I'm kind of going on with this, but again, I'm going to go back to the whole Bolt Matrix thing. When you take away a creator's comments, that nobody can leave comments on your video anymore. you prevent them from learning their mistakes that they're making in the video to improve upon themselves, to interact with their audience. Hey, I bought this toy, and yeah, I had that same issue where I couldn't get the figure to transform right, or I had the issue with the legs not wanting to work right, or something else. Those comments build a community. They allow the people to have a voice, and that makes them want to come back more and more and more. But without that, it's basically like watching a television from a sidewalk and there's glass between you and the TVs. You can't touch them. You can't interact with them because you're on the outside. There's a barrier that's preventing you from interacting with them, and that's what it is now. Simple things that could have been done to usurp this should have. But YouTube decided they just cared more about the profit and not so much about the creators. And that, to me, is wrong. And if anyone from YouTube wants to tell me that they have, I'm more than willing to listen to you. I really am. You know how to get a hold of me. Dig up my information out of the files. You know how to get in touch with me. But I want to know why you didn't want to help us. We're the creators. We're the ones that help your channel and your site grow. Without us, YouTube would be nothing. And you don't realize that. Your marketing ideas aren't the world's greatest. What would bring people to a website? Is it the fact that there's a lot of content that they can watch and interact with? Or ads? It sure as hell ain't ads. I don't know. What are your thoughts, though, on this? I really want to know. Do you give YouTube 5 years? Do you think it has a chance to survive? Do you think that there's a light in the darkness? I mean, I'd love to take up the mantle of this, but I can't be Atlas. I can't carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. But I'd be willing to try, but I can't. We need a light in the darkness. We need hope. We need a symbol to stand up and say in one voice, no more. But let me know in the comment section below what you think. And until next time, I'm Andrew Rhodes, and I will still be here on YouTube. And I will always remember those channels whose livelihoods, content, comments, and everything else have been taken from them. You will never be forgotten. Ever. Until next time, have a lovely and pleasant day.